Oh, welcome, fellow hobbyists, to the first episode of Hobby Hotline for 2026 here on For Collectors. I'm your host today, John, the 3D 80s kid, and I've got a couple of great panelists with me. Victor Roman, rookie card specialist. Welcome to 2026.
Good morning, Hobby.
And Lauren, welcome as well.
Good morning. Happy to be on the first Hobby Hotline of the new year.
It's hopefully it's going to be a good year. So we'll be talking about what we're seeing as far as what the future holds. We got the initial news, just mentioning what's going on with the Strongsville all vintage show a little bit, talking about that topic. I know there's a lot of vintage collectors with interest in that one. And then we'll be getting into some predictions of what we're thinking we're going to be seeing throughout the year and leading into, our own personal, what's our hobby goals and wrapping things up. So to kick things off, in case you aren't aware by now, which I know a lot of our audience is a vintage bent, Strongsville, Ohio, for I believe it is the 49th year, is the longest running all vintage sports card show. And interesting development has happened. I think they did officially release the news now, is that they have moved the show about 15 miles east to Independence, Ohio. And not only that, they are merging it into the same building as a simultaneous running modern sports / TCG show. And it is in a much larger venue, which is the Independence Fieldhouse, which they are saying they're going to be separating things with a curtain, and still trying to maintain a feel of it being separate shows. There's a lot of thoughts going around in the community on that. I know you do collect some vintage, Victor. Do you have any thoughts on what is going on with Strongsville?
Shout out to Mike Moynihan, who kind of broke the story, at least in my eyes and ears anyways. But I was shocked that of hearing of the news that they were moving. But then, I don't know, as I'm hearing things, I'm hearing it's because Amazon, I guess, bought the old building and they're going to make it like some kind of distribution hub. And so if that's true, I mean, what other choice do they have but to relocate? And if that's the case, I think the choice that they made here is kind of their best choice as far as building is concerned, close proximity to the area. So I would love to know, number one, is that a fact? Did Amazon buy that building? And if so, how can you blame them? And if that's the case, they've done excellent work at trying to keep it all together and make this all come together. Now, I did end up seeing an article on this on Sports Collectors Daily that gave a lot more detail on certain things. I know some of the show organizers made some comments that kind of helped the organizer of, I'll read a little portion here. It says, organizers of the Strongsville show, they're pointing to more parking, wider aisles, improved flow, and a cleaner, brighter, modern environment at this field house. They're also quoted as saying collectors are getting more value with less hassle. And it's an upgrade according to the people running it.
Yeah. The thing that to me, I think most collectors are feeling is that we had something special and unique with regards to at least vintage, because we're seeing it all across the country. Card shows are getting taken over by TCG in mass lately. And now the fear is that this is just going to end up being any other show. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're hoping it's not the case, but it's going to be interesting how they handle the card flow. And as far as your comment about the previous building, there's no mention of the ice rink being closed yet. It was previously held at the Brunswick Auto Mart Arena in Strongsville, which is a 2-rink ice rink. Google has no mention of that rink being closed yet. Just checking right now. So
Okay.
I don't know the validity of the Amazon story.
Okay.
So, but I'd like to give a little credit here to I don't know if he would approve me reading this or not, but we have a little big chat of vintage collectors, and I thought the sentiment here from Matt of the Card Story was spot on a little bit with how we were feeling about this. So as you get older, you lose family, friends, bladder control, hearing, vision, memory, etc. This was just one more to add to the pile. I may be on an island here. There's enough change in the hobby over the last couple of years, and I think some of us thought this was our last holdout. To me, it's just that simple. So,
okay. All right.
That's kind of the emotion that a lot of us are feeling with this news at this point. So,
well, I Googled the old location and new location from my house, and it was a 2-minute difference to both locations. 2 minutes. And I'm gonna to quote this article at the end sentence. Steve Menzie, who is one of the management teams, he says it's the same show at its core, same management, same standards, same commitment to vintage collectors, just on a bigger stage that's easier for more people to reach. So I don't know if that brings any insight to what's going on at the heart of at least management. I guess management they're really taking it serious too. It seems like they understand what's at stake with the tradition of this show that's been going on, I believe, since 1978. I believe is when it began. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone in the audience, I know we have a very strong vintage contingent. I threw a link in the chat if you want to share any thoughts you have on this subject. This is an interactive show, or can be. So, I know, Lauren, you don't collect vintage, but say there was this thing where it was a show that is all about what you collect, and now it gets merged into something else at a new venue. I mean, can you understand how we're feeling at least?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's initially, when I, heard we were going to be discussing this, I was like, oh, that's, that must be pretty cool. But I do understand, after hearing you all speak about it and reading the article from Collectors Daily, like, I do understand that for vintage collectors, part of the joy of collecting vintage is that it is a little bit like sealed, like it's your little universe, and that you get to cherish what was. I know that's not the entirety of collecting vintage, but I know that's an element to it. And so change is, I imagine, very hard. And this is a very big change to a very sacred space for you all. And, I don't live up north, so it's not close to me. I've never been to the show. And like you said, I'm not into vintage in a very big way. So, I can understand the change is, probably a little bit frustrating, and getting with, as we've said, this was a little bit of a slow news week, so this is big news for some people and the only thing that they can focus on. And I mean, I err on the side of optimism, and it's easy to say as an outsider looking in. I'd like to think it would be a good thing. I know you said that the room might be divided with a curtain, so like the shows will still be separate, but you'll still have access to both of them. So I'd like to think that, that separate but still, close might, allow people to kind of trickle in, have a little bit of osmosis both ways, which I think is good. But I do understand the loss of like something that is sacred to the vintage space, and, feeling some kind of uproot, or that, it'll be swallowed whole, like a lot of things in the hobby have been. I could see that being the sign that's taken here. So again, I like to err on the side of optimism. I saw some people, I think Warren in the chat, was saying that, it's probably going to be a good thing. They're feeling very positive about it. Yeah. So, I would like to err on the side of optimism, but I do understand the frustration. And yeah, if something I collected was being imposed on, like if I was hunting for Coco cards and then all of a sudden, vintage baseball was in competition in a product with my Coco cards, I'd be like, what? Why am I now I gotta, fight with the vintage crowd also because they're looking after this and I just want Coco. Like I can understand the frustration, but I would like to err on the side of optimism that it'll be a good thing, and I do hope it works out. I hope it's an enjoyable experience, but I understand the skepticism, and I think that's valid.
Well, thanks for that viewpoint there. Speaking of the chat, I've been so emotionally invested in this first topic. I have been negligent in scanning the chat here and saying hi to folks. So, welcome, Mad City Brew. Apparently, 37 days until spring training.
Let's go. No, how many days till the
Billy
World
Joe,
Baseball?
good morning.
How
Peter
many days
B.
to the World Baseball Classic, John? That's what I want to know.
I don't know on that one. Stukes is here. Phil Negro fan. We've got Doug Joe Wood Collector. We've got Old Gum Cards. Baseball Card Curmudgeon. Happy New Year. Hobby Hoops Hangout. Or Hoops Hobby Hangout. Abel in Vegas. Good morning. Orlando, a collector's dream. Big shout out to Orlando with the clean bill of health, cancer free. Yes,
Right.
Orlando.
Excellent. Wonderful.
That's we're gonna have a cancer-free 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Eklund, welcome. We've got Chris C, welcome. Warren D is previously shown. Good morning. Ruben Snyder, Indy Cards, Adams Card Closet, Foul Ball. I think nope. We got that 70s card show. Strongsville is the most overrated show ever. Okay. Brad Birchfield. What am I missing? Oh, the mayor of Strongsville there. We're going to have to change your title, sir, I guess. Is it going to become the mayor of Independence now? But anything else? Oh, we got Lou Rock TV. He is okay with staying at a hotel with hot water and no bed bugs. So that's part of the charm of Strongsville there. We were all stuck in that one crappy motel that was like within walking distance of the venue, which was very nice. I mean, it was nicer to have the venue that close where us old guys could go take a nap. So then we'd be ready to stay up late for all the gatherings in the evening. So that's less convenient now with all the hotels being a 10-minute drive, but
I'm sorry, guys. I can't focus with John Keating. He's out of control.
James Wynn is here. Oh, what do we got? You mooks will be walking up the vintage aisles with crocodile tears while I'm in Caracas scooping up bennies. Okay. TJ is online. Shiny Pokemon is the PMG plus Kaboom depicting Chronicles of Narnia odd pets for me. All right. Nate the Great is here. I think I'm just about caught up with everybody. And other people are sharing their comments. Some people are seeing positive. Some people are skeptical.
I see we didn't give up sarcasm for a New Year's resolution. That's for sure.
That's for sure. So, all right. I think I've just about got everybody caught up here. There we go. John Keating is also overrated. So, all right, to move on. So is this going to be a trend for shows? Are we going to see shows start to merge? I know that right now there are a ton of shows for those folks lucky enough to live in the Midwest to Northeast regions. I'm in a card show island here in the Pacific Northwest where get a crappy one once a month and trying to be a bigger one 3 times a year now with Front Row. But for these areas that get tons and tons of shows, are we going to start to see consolidation, or are all these things thriving as they are? What are our thoughts there, Victor?
I think we will. I think there's no shortage of shows, and I think demand is high. Multiple shows around me, and they all seem to be doing really well as far as attendance is concerned. And so, yeah, I think I said it in the last time that I was on here a few weeks ago. Everything in this industry right now is shifting and changing, and there's a lot of moving parts to this thing. I think the hobby's very healthy in that aspect as far as growth is concerned. And yeah, I think we will continue to see pivots and mergers and moving of buildings from one location to another. So that's kind of the lane we're in. Just got to ride the wave.
What do you think about that one, Lauren?
I was discussing with Brian, my husband Brian. We were talking about this earlier this week because we are not going to Fanatics Fest in New York this year. It's the same week as the World Cup, and it's going to be a little too much for us. So I'm curious to see how that show goes. I'm sure it'll still be a smashing success, but we aren't going as vendors or as patrons. So, but we also were looking forward to all the, other Fanatics Fest, events that they were going to have, the card shows. It was a little over a year ago. They were going to have the one in Florida, and they canceled due to the hurricane, which we don't really buy. I think that was an excuse. But, we were disappointed by that. But also there were people who were annoyed that Fanatics was, putting on card shows all over the country and maybe imposing on other card shows. So I live in Florida, and I'm sure we do have card shows. We don't have any that we go to frequently that are like our ride or die that we really enjoy. We go to Dallas probably 4 times a year, and we really enjoy that one. So I think, and I know Fanatics Fest is a very divisive company, but I did like the idea of them being a notable name that would be, coming to Central Florida and maybe drawing people in and, having, I don't know. I don't know. I think I have a lot of thoughts now that are running, but we were talking about earlier this week that we're missing out on Fanatics Fest in New York. It would be nice to have a mini taste of that here like we were planning on, and I don't really know what they ended up doing with that. So I don't know, other people, like you said, you're in the Pacific Northwest and you're on a little bit of an island, so you probably can lament in a different way that there aren't card shows that you could go to, and maybe Fanatics would put one in. But also Fanatics isn't really vintage focused because that doesn't really make them money. So I don't know. Card show, I love card shows, and I love going to see them, and they're all different. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and we all love them all for different reasons. So it'll be interesting to see if this is a trend that, they're starting to merge and, how that looks and how that morphs. So it'll be an interesting year for card shows for sure.
Absolutely. Personally, I don't know that I would consider even Fanatics Fest in the same category as card shows. To me, it's a fan experience that happens to have some cards there.
Yeah.
So I don't really see it as a direct competitor to what we're talking with the National and all these other just, card shows. So, I mean, I know it's going to take people's money that are fans, so they might be able to go to less of these other things.
Well, and I think too, the smaller card shows, I know Fanatics Fest card show, you just said that, but I think the smaller regional ones were supposed to be more card focused. And so I was looking forward to seeing like how that looked, from Fanatics. So I'm disappointed we don't know, and we may never know, because it would just be another venue of cards. But also, would it really be more card show, or would it just be mini Fanatics Fest across the country? We might never know. So
sure. I mean, if they're doing small regional things, I mean, I guess that fits into the category of should Fanatics be encroaching into the card show business too? I mean, how many tentacles are they going to grow? So I guess that this is a good, shift. Like, what do we see for Fanatics in the coming year? Do they buy up Panini? That's going to be a distressed asset? Do they, do any other movements? What is their next plan? Any thoughts on what Fanatics is going to do, Victor?
I think there's a lot of narrative out there right now, a lot of speculation per se, that they would be prime candidates to scoop up CGC. My thought is, how's the hobby feel about that? And I have a lot of concerns with that, only because they're the manufacturer. They have taken over the distribution, and they've created their own marketplace. And I know the style right now, the trend, I should say, is vertical integration, where these corporations have their hand in every step of the process. But my concern is, now, if you add grading to that element, is that a conflict of interest? I don't like it personally, and I think it would be overreach, overstepping their bounds per se. And personally, I wouldn't partake in it. I really don't. If you're going to manufacture it, grade it, and sell it, that's just too much going on, in my opinion, for my liking.
Well, it's just that I saw Rich Klein put in our chat that Fanatics is ownership is part of the same private equity group as CGC. So
yeah.
Do we possibly see a CGC takeover by Fanatics?
Yeah. Over my head, man. I don't know.
They've got what, 90-something% of sports cards. Let's go ahead and get 90-something% of TCG also with that move.
Yeah.
No, I'm crossing the streams here. Sorry, collectors has 90-something%. So
right.
Does Fanatics try to Are they going to partner more with the PSA thing, or are they going to try to compete with them? I guess is a question we'll find out in 2026. So,
and I've heard from a reliable source, and I'll actually give credit to Neo Cards and Comics. This is where I heard this from. But apparently, he went on Fanatics' website on their jobs profiles, or on their website. There's over 20 positions available at Fanatics right now for TCG. His hypothesis on all of that was, is Fanatics planning on creating a TCG product? They are currently hiring for every single position you can think of on the basis of TCG. And so real interesting. I think that's a telltale sign of what's to come in 2026. And so keep your eyes and ears open for that, because I think Fanatics is going to get into the TCG game. Pun intended.
Yeah, I feel like that's a case of they're going to try to make fetch happen, honestly, because I mean, you go to the shows now and you see just the dedication of these folks to Pokemon, mostly. And it's like now you're getting to where Pokemon's been around long enough that you see the adults with their kids, where the adults are in their late 30s and were collecting the original release as a kid, and now they've got their little kid on it too. And I think it's just not a viable thing to bust that up. I mean, but Lauren, what are your thoughts on the Fanatics empire?
The TCG thing, that's really interesting. And I know Neo usually has like, spearheads a lot of information. So that's an interesting source. I always like to hear what he's up to. TCG is interesting because it is hot, but what specifically is hot? Can you really manufacture that? Just like you said, can you make fetch happen? It's not going to happen, in most cases. But my brother-in-law, he's 30 and he collects Pokemon, and he collected it with my husband when they were kids. And my niece, who's 14, also collects Pokemon. And then also my brother-in-law's niece, who is 4, is, because she's grown up around Pokemon, so she's interested in it. So, but I think it's mostly Pokemon, and Pokemon is a very specific group. And what's the other one? I don't know why I'm blanking on it, but like they're very specific and they have their value in their little niches, and I don't know that you can manufacture it. So it'd be interesting to see, because like I recently learned one of the wrestlers for WWE, Xavier Woods, he for Christmas finished a collection of wrestling cards that was a TCG game in the 90s. And, they have that license. Maybe they would bring that back. They have the NBA license. Maybe they would do, I know the NBA has had games in the past, and, Panini tried with Monopoly, and I think I don't think people actually played with it. So I don't know, maybe they'll give it a shot. They can afford to throw things at the wall and see what sticks,
Isn't VFriends a TCG? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
My point is, if that's the case, they kind of have their hand in the pot already with TCG, with VFriends. If VFriends is, maybe the chat knows, I don't know.
Is there an actual game around it, or is it just silly cards?
Right?
I don't know.
But James, Stranger Things, I feel like that's something they really should have hammered a little bit harder, leading up to the series finale this week. It's been huge. Now they're going to kind of have to ride the wave down with anything they have. So, it'd probably be cool if they could do a Stranger Things TCG and tie it in with, D&D, which I think has been done, to maybe like a less, official extent. But I don't know. I feel like that's a really interesting, I don't know. I feel like sports collectors are like so hard to crack. I feel like TCG is just another level. I feel like you really have to try to impress TCG, because they, a lot of them do actually play with what they collect. And I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see. 2026 is going to be a blast.
Sure is.
Yeah, on the Stranger Things cards. Yeah, this comment here is kind of my thinking from Cooter Lev here, because I look back and like, if there had been Lost cards back when that series was super hot, how much would those be worth now? It's almost like relatively forgotten, Yeah,
and it was huge. I mean, I just watched it last year with Brian, and he got me some cards last year for Christmas because we were obsessed. But like, I was 20 years late to the party. So like, I don't have anybody I can like talk to about my Lost cards. There's no new product. So yeah, I agree with that. Like, you're just riding the wave into the sunset at this point with Stranger Things. I think they're planning a spinoff, but still, like, it's not the same. So
Oh yeah, I mean it's a cultural moment, but it's not going to hold.
right.
Just like what I don't know. Were there Baby Yoda cards a couple years ago too? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they did. They had Mandalorian, they had Boba Fett, they had, and they're hot, they're big, but they're very niche. Again, it's niche, and I mean, we opened those products, and I don't know very much, about the details of them, and I don't see them very often, and I don't see people fiending for them, even when a new season comes out or with the movie coming up. So I don't know.
I don't collect it, but I love watching it. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
and
great
you're a
series. I
collector
mean,
who's like, I'm not collecting. Like, how much harder is it to translate a viewer to a collector who doesn't
yeah,
collect anything? I don't know.
and for anyone in the chat who got torqued because I called him Baby Yoda, I know his name is Grogu. Sorry. So
We got bigger fish to fry than Baby Yoda's actual name, guys. Come on, keep up.
I didn't see any, but I could just hear
you already know. Yeah.
the cranking in somebody's brain that ticks them off to hear that. So because yes, nerd culture is alive and well. So
Mhm.
so moving on a little bit, is collectors done acquiring? What are we going to see moving forward from the PSA empire? So
I think they're going to chill for a little bit.
I hope.
They're going to take a step back in 2026 from acquiring more assets, I think.
well, what was Nat straight up with Dr. Beckett, or are they going to go the way of SGC?
We'll see.
What do you think, Lauren?
I wish they would cool it just because it's too much to keep up with. I mean, and we were trying to, figure out in the green room before the show started, like, is Beckett officially in the collector's universe now? BGS, like, I don't know. It's, the thing too is that all of this, like we said earlier about fanatics, all of this translates into, other things that we enjoy, and, the vertical integration and all that stuff. And then it's frustrating. Then you get mad about, like, the economy and things like that. So, like, I try not to get too passionate about it, but it is like, I understand why people get annoyed, that fanatics and collectors kind of keep gobbling stuff up, because you're like, let me have this. Leave this alone. Like, you're gonna merge, all these, restaurants into private equity, and all these, clothing, like, everything's gonna be merged, but, like, leave my cards alone. That's pure. And, like, that's unfortunately not how a capitalist society works. So I don't know. I don't know.
Well, TJ seems to think they bought it for the magazine content, because the Beckett magazine is done really well, and apparently PSA sucks.
But they have Card Ladder. I mean, they don't really. Do they need a magazine? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that's incorrect. It's just, it's another thing. Is it an inferior or superior product? Is that really what they're? That's a little harsh, but you know what I mean. Like, they're different products, but they're the same. I don't
Well,
know.
I think in terms of the magazine, they're even talking more like journalistic storytelling magazine,
Okay.
not necessarily the price guide. So
Fair. Right.
Oh, and they got the database. They got a marketplace. The grading company, right? I mean,
well,
there's
Brad thinks it's for the autograph authentication wing.
that's a great point. I've heard that too. That makes sense too.
So Abe is asking, does collectors combine BGS and SGC into BSGC?
BSGCCCCG.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that would that be bullshit grading company? Is that what that acronym stands for?
They really teed that one up for you.
Unintended, or I don't know.
Pretty sure that's what he was going for. But, do kids even know how to read magazines anymore? I do not think so.
I still enjoy them, man. I still enjoy them.
I think the TikTok culture has everybody with attention span of 30 seconds or less. Isn't that
Yeah.
about what it amounts to?
Yeah.
They can reproduce all the magazine covers into trading cards and make moolah.
There you go.
Card Ladder has data. BGS still makes magazines with articles.
Right. See, and that's how out of touch I am. I didn't even think about BGS as like an article source. Like that's very lame on my part that I get my information from other places. So maybe that is a good thing. Maybe they'll be able to boost it. I don't know. You guys.
I
We're
know
all
the
so-
magazine.
I have a subscription. I don't know where my latest one is, but here's one of them. They have a vintage collector magazine that's pretty good.
That's a great magazine, man.
Yeah.
Honestly. Great magazine. Their price guides, I don't know. To me, the fonts are just so small. They jam pack so much price guide information on there. It's so hard to read and navigate through that thing.
I think the price guide section is, and with the font being that small, I'm surprised because the only people that would actually look at that would be 70-something-year-olds that don't know how the internet works. So,
yeah, and it's as far as price guide, I mean, it's probably okay for stuff that's older, a little bit more slower moving, but for the newer stuff that comes out, the prices in the market just fluctuate hour by hour, and to try to record that on a monthly magazine is it's impossible, but you can still get close to accurate pricing on the older stuff. But yeah, everything's moved into a digital format nowadays, right? But they still do have the monthly. They've still been faithful at releasing the monthly price guides and still including articles and that sort of thing. So I mean, they've been consistent in that aspect.
That is true. So we are at 37 minutes. All right. So moving on, any other general predictions for 2026 outside of those massive companies for either of you, in terms of what's going to happen in the world with cards? Or is it going to still keep booming? Are we going to see a little bit of a bust? Or what do you think, Victor?
Man, I don't like repeating a lot of what I hear from other sources, but I mean, there's been a lot of this type of talk going on, and what I want to bring attention to, if you allow me to pivot for just a minute, and that is what I hope they do, or issues that I hope they address in 2026, and I think as content creators, we need to address the issue of scanning cards. This needs to be continuously brought up to the forefront. This is a problem that surfaced in 2025. It made the rounds. But nothing was done about it as far as on the industry side of things. There were some ideas thrown out there by many, and nothing still has surfaced as far as bringing about accountability or protecting the hobby from this scam. And I hope that the industry addresses this issue sooner rather than later. It has not gone away. It is still happening, and we need to address it. And the other one is in shill bidding. And I don't know, that's like a marketplace thing, right? It really doesn't involve the industry, but it does involve the industry to a certain extent, I believe, because if people feel scammed by the marketplace, it's going to inadvertently affect the manufacturers. So I think something needs to be done with the shill bidding, with the scanning and that stuff. Come on, guys, let's figure this out.
All right. Yeah, Lauren, what are you thinking for this coming year?
I think I don't know. I'm just trying to kind of just take in what Victor was saying and formulate kind of what I was getting to. But there's this thing recently, which it's not a recent phenomenon, but it's recently been brought up again, called the lipstick index. When people's finances are strained, or, the economy is, a little unstable or unpredictable, or people are feeling, unstable or unpredictable, lipstick sales start to peak. They really start to come up. And that's because, women, this is essentially the theory, is that women, when they're feeling that kind of distress, they want to give themselves like a little treat, right? And lipstick is one of the easiest things that you're like, you know what, I had a rough day. I want to just walk around Ulta, and you buy yourself like a $15 lipstick, and you leave and you feel great. Like, it's just that little high.
Retail
And I
therapy.
promise I'm getting somewhere with this. I promise.
Okay.
So I think, that's been coming into the discourse again lately. And I think a lot of people are going to be relaying that in cards. I think a lot of people last year, like we said, about, like Victor said, about, not really trusting, different platforms, or being concerned about shill bidding, and, all the deception. And also, the price of basketball chrome. People were shocked at the sticker price for it. And so I think people this year are going to probably be spending a little bit more wisely, maybe doing, the lipstick index trend, and buying, themselves a little treat instead of a big treat, or instead of, surfing, for that big fish. It's not a guarantee, and it's not, we're just talking predictions, but I think that it's, I just think people are going to be really skeptical this year, and they're going to be really cautious where they spend their money, and who they are willing to give their money to. Even, I think they're weighing their options a lot more than maybe they have, in the last few years. I think we're kind of seeing a little bit of disdain almost from some collectors, and I think that might translate into, I'm not willing to spend big bucks, but maybe I'll, do a little something here, a little something there, or, tighten up my network a little bit. So we'll see.
All right. For those who want to make a comment, I threw that chat, the link to StreamYard if you want to pop on and say anything with any of these topics. So, but where I'm going, I guess, I recently did that questionnaire that Jeremy Lee put together, the Hobby Spectrum. I know, Victor, you tried it. I saw your video. Well, where am I going with this? I scored a 9 purist. So
Nice.
with that, I would personally love some retraction of the prices of cards, because that would allow me to buy some of the things that I'm priced out of, maybe. So personally, I wouldn't mind that at all. But is it going to happen? I don't know, because it's not going to stop me from buying cards either way. So, but that's my slight wish. I know that negatively impacts some of you out there. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm hoping for, as someone who doesn't necessarily care that much about the value of the cards once I own them, because for me, a purchase means it's a forever purchase, and the only time I sell a card is when I've decided I'm going to change my mind on what card I specifically want for a player. So, because, with my goal of being one playing days card of every Hall of Famer. So, but yeah, that's the best I can do for a prediction, but leads me into our own personal goals section of the show here. So those of you in the chat, feel free to chime in. If you've got a goal that you're, a particular card or a particular player that you want to add this year, let us know in the chat, and I'll be sharing those on the screen. Victor, you got any personal then hobby goal of 2026 for you?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't been buying much this fourth quarter of 2025, and I think that's going to continue. And the reason why is because I believe the market is at a peak, and I'm not buying in a peak. I've been doing this long enough to know that peaks come with valleys, and I'm not purchasing at the peak. So what I'm doing is holding and saving, and when the valley comes, I'll be ready. And so that's kind of my strategy going into 2026. And yeah, that's hard to say. And I'm probably going to scratch the itch, right? But I'm going to do that with lower end cards. So I think my Sammy Sosa insert card playing days, insert card PC may be resurrected to the forefront 2026, or my 2001 Fleer Greats of the Game autograph set. I think I'm going to be bringing that out of the shelf behind me to just maybe focus on that smaller, lower end stuff while the market is peaking on the higher end stuff. So that's my strategy, and keeping it simple and staying the course.
All right. How about you, Lauren?
I actually just went through all my cards. I sat down with Brian on the floor of my office, and we went through all of my PC, and I really tried to hone in on it and see, do I really want this, or do I want to sell it and put it towards something that I want more? And so I think that I want to just be more thoughtful, and I've kind of thought about this across every aspect of my life. I want to be more thoughtful about what I bring in to like my home, as far as even like, clothes or decorations, or, but in my office, specifically cards. I get very overwhelmed in my office because I have cards I collect, I have cards that I stitch, I have I have a lot of cards. Like, I know I'm not unique in that, but I get a little overwhelmed, and I felt good about kind of, honing in on what I have. I have a lot of art cards that they're mainstays. They're not going anywhere. So that makes it easier because, I know I'm keeping those. So what can I do without? And how can I put it towards, things that I like more, that I want more? So I'm trying to just kind of trim the fat a little bit this year. That's what I'm kind of going into. And I also, I know it's not really what I'm known for very much right now, but I do want to start stitching more. I didn't really do too much. And yeah, so I want to start getting back into my card art, and encouraging my friends also. And yeah, I think it's going back to that trend of, I'm sorry, everyone, that I had to mention lipstick in a sports card podcast, but I think it just kind of goes back to that. I just want to be more mindful about, how I'm spending my time in this hobby, and, the people that I'm interacting with, and yeah, and just kind of savoring it and being more mindful about it. So, yeah.
Well, you're not called Lauren Goes Here for nothing.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Before I respond, I do want to give a chance for the question for Victor. Is Victor writing a pre-war rookie book in 2026? Because it feels like
Wow,
all
yeah, great
those
question.
shows you're doing is preliminary research.
Yes, it is, and it's prelude to. I do plan on writing another book, but it's going to be more extensive. That's future down the road. Pre-war will probably be a chapter or two in this updated version of the book, but yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
All right, Chris C is after a 49 Bowman Jackie Robinson. That's a big one. So
Good luck.
I had
Dukes
earlier is looking on completing maybe a set. So good luck with that, Scott. Nice. But yeah, as far as myself, as far as card collection goes, I'm going to say my goal is acquiring a Christy Mathewson. That was also my goal last year. So clearly I don't, I don't force the situation. So this is one of those things where it has to align where I find the right card at the time where I actually have budget to buy it. Situation, which didn't align in 2025, and maybe it'll happen in 2026. But it's got to be the right card, the right moment when I have enough money to buy it, because I don't overextend beyond my card budget. So we'll see. But my main goal is to have fun, interact with lots of people, because with throwing this YouTube experience into the mix, for me, it has become really more so about the people than the cards. So being part of this community, I have all these friends that I chat with on the regular, traveling across the country for Strongsville and the National, specifically just to see people that I would have never met otherwise, that live all around the country. One guy lives in Australia. Shout out to Carl. But yeah, it's a great experience with all these people that we have this thing in common, that we're mentally obsessed with these pieces of cardboard, and so it just unites us all, regardless of what our opinions are on any other topic. We have that one thing that we can share and enjoy together. So, and no matter what you collect, I have no interest in anything you collect, Lauren. I'm going to say that now. But I'm still happy to see you happy about what you're getting.
Right.
So, that's part of the joy of this is we have that shared, we know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing someone else feel it, is enjoyable too. So, but
John, a couple things. You had mentioned Christy Mathewson. I'm curious, what's your strategy for something like that? Are you going to be consolidating cards to gather funds, or what's your strategy there?
I am not a consolidator seller. I am I've got a every time I get a paycheck, a certain amount of money goes into a savings account. And once that builds up enough, then I can have the money to buy something big like that.
All right.
Nice.
So, yeah, anytime I choose to buy something, then that savings account, transfers to my regular account so I can buy it. So,
and of course, your $100 YouTube check that you get every 3 months.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in the money now as far as being monetized. So, yeah, but yeah, you get a video that goes sort of hobby viral-ish with a couple thousand views, and it gets you what, $30 maybe.
Maybe.
So yeah, but that one is on my maybe list, because I did have the E98 as kind of a goal, but from what I'm seeing, that thing is shooting up past what I want to spend. So, all right. So I think we just about covered our regular topics.
Recent pickups.
Okay, go ahead, Victor.
Oh man. I'm going to show it today, but I know it might be a simple card to everybody, but for me, it doesn't get any better than this right here. It's a Jeff Kent Fleer update. This is the one.
It's a rookie card.
Mangini's ears are going to burn, but this is the one featured in the PSA set registry. Let's go.
All
set
right.
registry collectors. Where you at?
Lauren, how about you?
I will go ahead and feature, especially since it's right here. We did in one of my card group chats that is never ending and spans all of the time zones in the US. We did a card exchange where we had to take $20 and go through, the dollar boxes. I don't know why I'm fumbling here. Through all those boxes at our local card shop to support our local card shop, to spend time looking at cards that maybe we wouldn't necessarily get. So the person who got me, unfortunately, because they are heavy on baseball, they ended up getting me a Cole Anthony rookie card. And there's a bunch more, but these are the two that I put on top because they're my favorite. So I got this Cole Anthony rookie card because I love the Orlando Magic, and I will never get over them trading Cole Anthony to the Bucks. And also, I don't know how you would know this because I love her and I don't really talk about her that much, but I got a Sydney Colson autograph. And if you are not into women's basketball but would like to just be entertained, she's hilarious. And you can find her clips on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. She is basically a stand-up comedian that has some basketball talent. And
Nice.
yeah, so if you are not into women's basketball but would like an entryway, Sydney Colson, look her up. She's hilarious and wonderful, and her cards are pretty inexpensive. So
All right, cool stuff. I also did, as a Hall of Fame player collector, did pick up Jeff Kent after the announcement.
ooh,
Clearly, mine is not a rookie card, as I got the
ooh.
2000 Fleer Ultra, and I bumped it up to the gold medallion edition.
You spender, you.
Yeah, big spender. I could have got the regular one for $1.25, but I decided to go for $2.50 with this bad boy.
I like it.
Love it.
So,
Love it. Yep.
yeah. All right, but
A good image of him too.
But my really big pickup, I
Uh-oh.
could not resist in the last CIA, the auction closing there, of going for this, which is the
Boom.
Tom Petty rookie card.
Nice.
I know you love saying rookie card associated with non-sports, Victor. That's for you. Previously owned by none other than Mike Petty. So
Nice.
extra special.
Extra
That's
special.
awesome.
This is a blank back, by the way. So
Wow, that's so cool.
from 1977 here, but
Love it.
could not resist owning a piece of the Mike Petty collection when
That's
it was
awesome. That's so cool.
Indeed.
so. All right. Now, I guess, any more topics, or are we ready to close things out with? All right. Victor, so what do you got upcoming that people should be looking out for?
I got well, Saturday's typically my content creation day, so I'll be recording a video shortly after this. I'm going to be talking about my top 10 pickups for 2025 and my plans for 2026, and a video that I look forward to releasing every year, and we'll be doing that, releasing that tomorrow.
All right, looking
Excellent.
forward to it. Lauren, what about you?
I unfortunately cannot spend all day in my office looking at, talking about, and working on cards. Womp womp. I have family obligations, but
Yep.
in a perfect world, that's how I would be spending the rest of my day. But maybe Sunday, maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
All right. Myself, I will be also hosting tomorrow night's live stream on For Collectors. It's going to be a fun opening of 2026 card showing. I've got some great guests lined up with none other than Orlando, A Collector's Dream,
Nice.
Lou Rock TV, and why am I blanking? Dawn's Field of Dreams. So we're going to be doing some fun themes around the cards we show, which I gave them a list, and we'll have fun with that. I'll also be doing the next video release on Wednesday is going to be my pre-record, which putting together another 5 cards every collector should own video, and I've got the most geographically diverse lineup ever, as I've got Carl from Australia is going to be in my recording session that I'm actually doing later tonight. And for me, it'll be Saturday night, and for him, it'll be Sunday midday. So
Yeah, awesome.
and then besides that, we got Dylan from Hawaii has begged me over and over again to be on a second show of that. So I finally acquiesced, and he's going to be in from Hawaii. And then we've also got Collecting America's Pastime, a guy who started making videos 6 or 7 years ago, then took years off, and now has taken up again in 2025 out of Ohio. So we are covering a multitude of time zones with this recording session. So it should be a fun show. And with that, thank you everybody in the chat for joining us today. Thanks, Victor and Lauren.
Yep. Somebody said this show is sponsored by Maybelline.
Oh, yeah.
2026 goals.
There you go.
All right. Everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Hobby Hotline.